Hello patrons, and welcome to the monthly exclusive Patreon video for the month of September, being recorded and released October 2nd. And the reason that I'm filming in the kitchen in the morning, because it's like 8:30 a.m., the reason I'm doing that is actually pertinent to one of the things I'm going to talk about. And I wanted to show off my breakfast, because I got eggs and toast and coffee. This is all relevant. I'm going to eat breakfast, then I'm going to record the rest of this video. Alright, so let's discuss what's going on. First thing you'll notice is that I actually have the camera up on the GorillaPod, which means completely hands-free. The camera's not moving around, it is not handheld, it is essentially on a tripod. I don't know if you guys will like that better or worse. You might just be completely neutral about it. Personally, I'm completely neutral about it, but I thought it'd be a nice way to change this up. So, first thing we're going to discuss is what happened in September. And my very first bullet point is that The Walking Dead ended. And that alone is very strange to me because, for one, the final episode was closer to the start of the month instead of the end of the month. But then also we've been so busy and had so many other things going on and been working on so many other things, it actually does not feel like it happened in September. It feels like it was 3 months ago. In fact, it was 3 weeks ago. But we did play it, and we really enjoyed it. We talked about it on the series and then also on the finale. I feel like the third season was better than the second season for me personally, and I think Mal echoed that sentiment. But it's a fun game. I feel like it really works well on our channel. It works well for the type of commentary that Mal and I provide. It works well for the type of interactions Mal and I like to have between each other. And I just like that style of game where we're making huge choices and each person is, playing God every single episode, and the other person has to just sit there and go, oh God, what's going to happen? What decisions are they going to make that I wouldn't have made that's going to influence the story? I think that those sorts of games, those decision-making games, are a good fit for the channel, which is another reason why we're excited to do Until Dawn. Well, I'm excited to do Until Dawn. Mal's a little nervous, but she'll be fine. Also, as a side note, The Walking Dead Season 4, which is the last season, they said it was going to be the last season they made, was announced for next year. I think they said spring, but maybe I'm making that up. Next year is true, though. If it's spring, we'll try and do it, as soon as we can. If the schedule opens up, we'll probably try and fit it in sooner rather than later. It's a game that we will do as soon as possible, basically. Now, when Walking Dead ended, we replaced it with Uncharted Lost Legacy, and that's super notable because that is the first one-player series that's not Fallout that has been on the channel in 9 months. And actually, the funny part, and I think I mentioned this last Patreon video, is that the last single-player LP that we had was Uncharted 4. So the two single-player games that we've had back-to-back were Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy, about 10 months or so apart. And honestly, if you look at Steven Plays over the last year, over the last 12 months, we have done an astounding number of two-player games, or two-player Let's Plays. They haven't necessarily been two-player games. Me and Mal have done a lot of games that we both wanted to play that I thought would be good for both of us to experience, and we've taken turns on all sorts of things. I mean, it goes back to Limbo, Inside, Firewatch, Abzu, like all these little games, and of course, Ocarina, Pikmin. So we've done all of these things. We haven't had a single-player slot on the channel for just about a year, and 2017 was really the year of two-player. And we are going to start slowing that down as we move into next year, because there's a lot of games now that I want to do that are single-player series. Assassin's Creed, BioShock. There's a few other ones that I'm going to talk about here soon. And these are games that I feel are best experienced on their own, partially because there's precedent on the channel of doing single-player with them. So those are happening, at some point. So as we move into 2018, you will see Mal less. Although, to be fair, it's one of those situations where, this is not the norm. We've done Steven Plays for years and years and years, and Mal has only ever been on one LP at a time. So for her to be on two at a time is really strange. But the last 12 months have been kind of strange. Other things of note for September. Morning Mario was doing well. Whenever I did last month's Patreon video, Morning Mario 500 had just dropped, and I was kind of like, I felt good about what I had made. I felt good about adding the face cam. I felt good about the gags and doing things with some visual elements and increasing the comedy. But it was still, you know, I put episode 500 out there and I had a lot of faith in it, and people started to like it, and I was like, good, but I didn't know how the coming weeks were going to go, because it's a lot different from watching a 45-minute special to going back to watching, you know, 5 to 7 minute videos in the morning. Like, how were people going to perceive it? In the first week or two, there was some people that were like, oh wait, you're doing you're doing face cam forever, and there was a few, I mean, really a tiny amount that were like, I don't really know if I like this. But some of those people actually reverted course. They actually took back what they said after they saw a few of them, which made me feel so good. Because it's something that I really felt like this will add to the series, this will make the series better, and it was nice to see people that were lukewarm on the idea at first decide, actually no, this is actually adding a lot. You know, this is something I enjoy, and it's been actually noticeably different in terms of viewership, because viewership has went up by, you know, as much as like 50% or more on some of these videos. From where it was whenever we were in like the 400s. Now that we're in the 500s with face cam, there's been a big noticeable difference, and it's consistent. Like, there are more people watching Morning Mario, and I think it's because, for one, there is face cam, and I think that does add a lot. But I think I'm kind of approaching it with a slightly different feel, where I'm more willing to do, you know, visual gags or insert more comedy, more music tracks, things like that. And I really feel like that was the right direction for the series. I really feel like that was the way to go. So I'm just glad things have been going well. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying it too. But Morning Mario, you know, I said it last month, but it is going to be around. And I was worried about the future of that slot. I didn't know if I should continue doing Morning Mario or if I should switch it to something else. But now, in retrospect, looking back, I see that the correct decisions were made, and sticking with Morning Mario was the way to go. My next bullet point is there have been some vlogs. My counterpoint is that there have been good vlogs. I know that vlogs have been coming out real slow, and that is a combination of multiple things. For one, we've been busy with Stephen Plays. We've been busy with people coming into town, because we were out of town obviously in July. People were here for ChefCon in August, and then in September, Nicole was here for a few days. But the other thing is that the vlogs that we're going through right now are just super difficult. But the good news is that when they finally come out, they're really good. So if you haven't seen today is October 2nd. Today I released July 14th, and we're on our way back from our trip, and on...
Hi.
Would you need something? You can walk through. Mal's painting, or taking a break from painting, I guess. Taking a break now. She's been doing really well. Anyway, I got sidetracked. But yeah, the vlogs have been complicated, but they've been good, which is fortunate. And also, the trip is almost over, and those ones are... Everything that we shot in July is so much harder than everything else. So I'm looking forward to being able to finish up this trip, and then get back to releasing vlogs a lot more frequently, because they're frankly not as difficult. And as much as I've loved the dash cam, and I really do feel like it's added a lot, it also adds a lot of time. And not all of dash cam vlogs are going to involve dropping in, you know, so many hours of footage, but these ones did. So that is one of many reasons why vlogs are still behind. But you will see more vlogs come out in October than came out in September, basically. Oh, another thing which we have not announced anywhere other than, I think, Discord, is that we have faster internet. I get a letter from our ISP in the mail, and it said, hey, we have faster internet. Call us and find out more. And I called immediately. For the last, how many years? Ever since we've lived here. So not only in the apartment, but in the area. So in the apartment for 4 years and then here for the last year. We have the fastest internet you could get, at least in terms of upload speed. And the upload speed was 5 megabits per second. The download speed was 30. They offered something higher, but at that point, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. Once you get to 30, you're pretty good. You can stream 4K content, so you're pretty set there. But they had higher packages available, so I called, and long story short, we went from 30 megabits per second down to 200 down, and we went from 5 megabits per second up to 20. That means that our upload speed increased fourfold. That's important to note because the big bottleneck for us releasing content is upload speed. But when you increase it fourfold, which is now the new highest upload speed they offer, it allows us to do something cool. It allows us to completely release all vlogs in 4K. So you may have noticed that some of the very recent vlogs that came out from the trip are in 4K. They would have been in 4K anyway because I like to do that with, special vlogs. But at this point, I don't feel like there's any reason I'll be releasing future vlogs in 1080 at all. All future vlogs will be in 4K because they're being shot in 4K anyway. We've been downscaling them to 1080 in order to release them. So at this point, we're just going to release them in 4K because we can. The upload speed supports it, and that's pretty awesome. It also just makes my life easier. Like, having to wait on an upload of, like, Fallout. Uploading an episode of Fallout takes, like, 3 to 3.5 hours. Now it takes, well, a fourth of that time. So everything has gotten really great. We're really pumped about how fast the internet is around here now. Also, Nicole visited in September. She was here for, I think, 5 days. She loved it. I mean, she really, had a blast while she was here, and she has already said that she is coming back. In the spring, maybe. When I say that she had a really great time, I'm not even kidding. She had a wonderful time, and she also misses everyone, so she said she'd really like to come back, so she probably will. Another update on this list is that we never got hit with a hurricane. There was, and you guys will see when the vlogs come out, there's so many times where there were threats of hurricanes hitting us, and there's times we went out and got stuff and we prepared and we weren't sure what the hurricanes were going to do, etc. And I'm happy to report that we ended up not having to deal with that at all. No hurricanes hit us. The downside is that it was just us. It was just us that didn't get hit. So many other places are suffering. Texas is still dealing with the aftermath of Harvey. Florida's still dealing with the aftermath of Irma. And of course, Puerto Rico is basically destroyed from getting hit direct with a Cat 5. And then today, not to touch on it too much because I know that it's all over the news and you don't need me talking about it as well, but today, we woke up and found out that the worst mass shooting in the U.S. Occurred. So there's a lot of bad things that have happened recently. And I know that we don't talk a whole lot about that sort of thing on video, but it's something that we're obviously aware of. We watch the news and pay attention to it. And for us, it's just a time to really double down, stay focused, and work on trying to bring some form of entertainment to people. Entertainment, whether it be, a movie you watch or a song you listen to, or in our case, a YouTube video you watch. We are a form of escape from so many of the issues that are seemingly, God, I hate to say they keep coming, but man, they keep coming. So yeah, it's a time for us to really continue to do what we feel like is our part to restore some level of sanity to everyone. So yeah, that's my official statement on that. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much about what happened today, or some of the other tragedies because there's so much to say, and I can't be the one to say everything. So I'll just say that we're going to continue staying very focused on bringing people entertainment in a time when they probably really need something to get their minds off of everything that's been going on. And then finally, my big thing for September, and this is such a huge thing. Whenever this video started, it was at breakfast time, and I showed you I cooked breakfast. We are on a schedule. And you might be saying, what does that mean? You've been on a schedule before. No, you don't understand. We are on a real schedule. Like a real, legit schedule that dictates when we wake up, when we go to bed, and also when we do the things in between. We have never had this before. There have been times over the last few years where we have said, you know, let's wake up at this time, let's go to bed at this time, let's really try. But really, it wasn't like specific times. It was basically like, let's try really hard to get up before noon, which is not, it's not, I mean, we enjoy getting up at like, you know, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., etc. But we could never bring ourselves to do it because our schedule has basically always been such a roller coaster. It's been, you know, some nights we'd be up, you know, all night, and then our sleep schedule's all messed up for the next day. And I would say largely over the last few months we've been getting enough sleep, but the problem is our bodies are all out of whack because we're going to bed and waking up at different times, multiple times through the week. So we decided a few weeks ago, because quite frankly, and to be as open and honest with you as I can, things got pretty bad in terms of our schedule had been so up and down near I mean, throughout the end of August and then going into the beginning of September, our schedule had been so up and down that we were really depressed. And I try to be careful when I use that word because I know that there are people that suffer from depression. But man, we were depressed. It was bad. It was something that was really, really hard to deal with because there would be only fleeting moments of like, we can do this, we can get through this. And we realized something had to change. And it was for both Mal and myself because fortunately we would wake up and go to bed together. So we were dealing with this together, but not being able to work through the day. I mean, waking up when the sun has already gone down is terrible. It's a terrible feeling. But it had really played with us mentally in a way that it never has before. And I don't know if it was just as bad as it was or if years of doing this sort of thing have caught up with us, but it got to the point where it was like, okay, whoa, we really have to change something because, you know, the way that we're feeling mentally is not healthy and is not good. So we made a pact and we decided that we were going to change things. We said we're going to fix our sleep schedule and we're going to wake up at 7 a.m. and we're going to go to bed at 10:30. And then we went a step further and said, here's how it's going to work. We're going to wake up at 7 and we're going to have breakfast at whatever it was, you know, 7:30, 7:15. And we're going to, you know, eat. From this point, we're going to, you know, watch the morning news. Then we're going to work. We're going to work from, I think we said like 8 to 12, something like that. We're going to work 8 to 12. Then we're going to have, you know, lunch from this point to this point. Then we're going to do our second 4-hour work block. Anyway, we divided it up like you would have at a real job. And we've been doing this for how long now, Mal? Like 3.5 weeks? Something like that? Mm-hmm. Probably about 3.5 weeks. And we've stuck to it. There's been a little wiggle here and there. Sometimes we get up, you know, 15, 30 minutes later than normal, and that throws things off a little bit. But for the most part, we've stuck to it. And there's a desire to stick to it because it has made an incredible difference in our lives. It took about a week for us to get over the weird jet lag of having an actual schedule. But once we got to that point, everything... It was like magic. Everything got so much better. Like, we were so much happier and healthier. It was wild. Which is probably obvious because, like, humans should probably wake up when the sun comes up and work through the day and then sleep when the sun goes down. So it sounds silly, but it really, like, it has been life-changing. And I don't say that lightly. It has actually changed our entire lives. So we have really been working hard to stay on that schedule, and it's just been really great. So almost every single morning now, I wake up early, and we come out here, and I have a cup of coffee, eggs, and toast every morning. And just that alone, like having breakfast, like gives you this this energy to really hit things hard. And I have absolutely been more productive. It sounds weird probably saying that because vlogs have still been behind, but we've been working on a lot of other stuff. But both of us have been more productive. Mao is almost finished with her painting that comes out on Saturday. Most of the time, no offense to you, Mao, but most of the time you're working on stuff like the night before, still trying to finish it up. And now, it's been good. It's been good. It's been really good. Anyway, I wanted to really put a strong point on that because, like I said, it's been life-changing. And for anyone who maybe has gotten out of a sleep schedule, maybe you also work at home or you have some other job that gives you more free-form hours, I would highly suggest trying this. I mean, for everyone else, you probably are on a schedule because you have to be because of work. We weren't, and we did, and now everything's great. I mean, I really can't get over how much it changed everything. We thought it would help. We're like, this is a step in the right direction. We should do this. But I really didn't think that we were ready for how much it was going to change everything. Anyway, now that I've said all that, let's talk about the things that are happening in October, shall we? And this is in order of the calendar in terms of when these things are happening. Until Dawn is Saturday, this Saturday. And we actually haven't filmed it yet because we're going to be using Facecam. I think I announced that last month, but we're going to be using Facecam. We're going to be using Mao's camera, the nice camera, which means that she has to finish this painting first. So she should finish it today, tomorrow at the latest, and then we'll be able to get started recording episodes of Until Dawn. It is going to be totally blind. We don't know what to expect. We only know that it's scary and that you make decisions. So we're going to do our typical take turns things, and from what I understand, my limited knowledge of the game, there's 8 characters and they can die. And if you make the right decisions, they might not die. So I guess we'll be trying to keep people alive, and one of us will probably kill them, and the other person will be like, you killed Jim. And the other person will be like, I'm sorry, but they shouldn't have been drinking gasoline. Now, after Saturday, the next day, Sunday, we are going to be starting Super NES Classics on Sunday night. Now, last year we did NES Classics, and we did an entire month. We did it every day, and we're not doing that again. This time, we're going to be doing Super Nintendo Classics every Sunday night. You might be saying, Steven, there's like 20-something games. Doesn't that mean that it's going to be on the channel for like 4 or 5 months? The answer is yes. You can get excited or disappointed because we're going to be doing that content every single Sunday, every Sunday night for probably until February. And I also wanted to shout out Not David Lynch for giving me that idea, because we were discussing on Discord how to release all this content, and he's the one that said, maybe consider doing that, because then you've wanted to do Retro 20. If you do that, it would give you, for one, a buffer, because it would give you a buffer until February to be able to produce this content, but then also the audience would already be used to watching retro content on Sunday nights. And then you could just, once Super Nintendo Classics ends, you could just say, now it's going to become Retro 20. And that's probably what we're going to do. So thank you for that idea. I think it's a good one. And also, like the Super NES Classics, it's not time sensitive. It's not super important that people watch that all at once. It can come out once a week, and it's totally fine. So it'll still be coming out in like January and February. And I think it should be, that shouldn't really matter. I don't know how long the content's going to be. There's a lot of RPGs and stuff on the Super Nintendo, and I think there's several RPGs in the Super NES Classics, but we'll probably aim for slightly longer content than we did the NES. No offense to the NES, but some of those games are only playable for like 10 minutes. And on the Super Nintendo, it's way different. You can play every single one of those games for like 30 easy. So we'll probably make the content a little bit longer than it was for the NES. And then the next big thing, and the reason, one of the big reasons we're not doing Super Nintendo Classics every single day is that Pikmin 2 is ending on Tuesday. Is today Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, today's Monday, so not tomorrow, but a week from now? Wait, no, it's ending. Yeah, it is ending tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm bad at time. Okay, it ends tomorrow. Sorry. It ends tomorrow, but the challenge mode starts next Monday. That's it. And challenge mode is 2-player. We've already started recording it, and I gotta tell you, it's like a completely different game. The amount of stress that both of us, but especially me, were under during the Pikmin 2 campaign was immense. It's been so immense that it's upset viewers because they're very angry with how I've reacted to the game itself, the events that happen in the game, the way Mal plays the game, and I readily admit that in an upcoming episode I talk about how I don't even feel like myself playing Pikmin 2 campaign because it's been so stressful. And it is. I think it's the hardest video game we've ever played. But it's done, which is great. And the finale of that comes out Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And the next Monday, we are going to start doing challenge mode every single day. And we've already recorded some, and like I said, a completely different game. I think a lot of the stress had to do with worrying about the Pikmin. You know, like you get, for a long time it was getting the whites and the purples, and then they die and be like, oh god, now they're dead, now we have to make more. And on challenge mode, you just start a level and they give you some Pikmin. And if they die, it's like, okay, we'll just start the level over. It's short form, like the levels have taken like 10 minutes, and that's it. It's like a completely different game, and I almost prefer it to the campaign. And then finally, the last big thing that's happening on Steven Plays in October is that Fallout is hitting episode 200. And this is notable because it's a big number, but then some of you who watch Skyrim will say, you've hit big numbers before, and it just means nothing. Kind of. There is a big thing happening soon in Fallout. I've had the wheels turning for a long time, and right now the stars are aligning that my big plan can actually maybe be carried out on episode 200, which would be really cool. But regardless, even if it doesn't happen in episode 200, it's going to happen really soon. So there's going to be some kind of a big change happening in Fallout, and I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a lot of effort on my part and a lot of time, but it's going to be worth it. That's what I keep telling myself. It's going to be a really cool addition to the Let's Play. And it's also going to, well, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's going to be great. Fans of Skyrim will probably really appreciate it. All right, so now, oh, and one more thing that's happening in October. We are going to Carowinds. Carowinds is a amusement park that's like 3.5 hours north of here. We went there once before on the vlog, quite a while ago. But we're going to be taking some friends up there at some point and, basically having a fun day. Just because I actually don't remember why we're doing it.
Because they closed for the season and we wanted to go.
Okay. The cats have decided to eat each other. Please don't eat each other. No, don't eat each other. They might eat each other. Oh, also, let me throw this out, because I just realized that when I was talking about Fallout 200, I said fans of Skyrim will get a lot out of it. I'll just go ahead and shut it down now. It's not Argyle. Argyle is not appearing in Fallout. Just want to shut that down before people start getting really excited for that. It's not that. All right. Finally, what's happening in the future? Sonic Mania. We did a first 20 of it recently. It went over so well, not only with us, and certainly with Mal, but with the viewers, that we will almost assuredly do a full Let's Play of that. Not sure exactly when. It could happen as early as this year. It could be the thing to come after Until Dawn. I don't know. But it will almost assuredly get the Let's Play treatment just because it's great. it is great, and Mao loves it, and the reactions, just seeing the reactions from Mao, it makes it worth it, in my opinion. So we will probably be doing that, sooner rather than later. And on that note, as we move into 2018, the games that we play together, the co-op games, we're going to go for more of a feel-good game. There's just been so much stress related to Pikmin 2, which, by the way, has been on the channel for over half of 2017, that we really want to go a little more casual, a little more feel-good, a little more not worrying so much about playing the game good, because it's an easier game, that we can just focus on, shooting the crap and being, just commentating. So ideas for that include Rayman Origins, which has been on our future list for a long time, Kirby, because we've had Kirby's Dream Land 3 on there for a long, long time, and then maybe adding a different game that would be in that same vein, like Yoshi's Woolly World. Like, there's all these games, Kirby's Epic Yarn, there's a ton of Kirby games that we could do. These games are fun. These games are, some of them are games or series that me and Mao have done before, like Kirby, and they do well, we have fun doing them, and the stress level is brutal. And I feel like that might be a better fit for us than doing something that's super high stress like Pikmin 2. Fortunately, Pikmin 3 is not supposed to be as stressful, so that's good. But I'm looking forward to doing more fun games in 2018. A game that I wouldn't count with Rayman, Kirby, and Woolly World is L.A. Noire, which is getting a remastered edition next month. That's also something that's on our radar. I don't know if that'll happen next year or not, but it is something that we're thinking about. Also, I've talked about it before, but Mario 64. There's a good chance you'll probably see Mario 64 on the channel next year. I had talked about possibly doing Odyssey, but honestly, I don't think we're going to do it immediately. We're going to wait it out. And the reason is Nintendo is honestly crazy. They are crazy. I don't know if you saw one of the recent things they posted as part of their creators program, but you're not allowed to live stream on YouTube if you have a Nintendo creators account. And there's certain things that you can do to get around that, and it's okay, but like just everything about them is wild and crazy. And it feels like the Wild West with them all the time in terms of content. And we actually have an established relationship with them because we are brand ambassadors for Nintendo, and we have certain things set up in order for us to be able to do their games. And even with that, I don't trust it, because there have been too many other occasions where I've seen them do things where I'm like, what are you doing? I always think back to the time when Nintendo reached out, and this was years ago, where Nintendo reached out to the Runaway guys and said, we'd like you to make a video promoting whatever it was, New Super Mario Bros. 2? Whichever one is like the one where you get all the gold coins. I think that was it. So they like made a video, and then Nintendo flagged it. And I'm like, you're the ones that requested the video. What are you doing? Anyway, so I'm not saying that we won't do Odyssey, because I have genuine interest in doing Odyssey. But it's not something I would touch right now with some of the stuff that Nintendo has done recently regarding online content. I think it's something that we'll give it a few months, and we'll look into it later. And in the meantime, we might do Mario 64, which would be a pretty short game, and I've always wanted to do just because Mal's never had a chance to actually play it. You've played a little bit, right? You've played like Bob on Battlefield, and that's it.
I've played more than that.
You played a little more than that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, she hasn't played the whole thing, so I would really like to get her experiences from that. Back on the single-player front, Red Dead 2. I've had a lot of people asking me recently about Red Dead 2, and I've been more or less waiting to find out where it falls on the timeline, because Red Dead 1 is amazing. It's also really long, and I didn't want to feel like I had to do Red Dead 1 first. Because if I did, then I don't know when it would ever happen, because it's such a long game. It's a great game. Really great. Red Dead 1 is fantastic, and I love the ending. But I was interested in doing Red Dead 2, but if it was a sequel, then I would have felt weird, because I would want to do the first game first. But we just learned from a trailer recently that it's a prequel, which means it's perfect to do. So there is a good chance that there will be another single-player Rockstar game on the channel next year, and it would be Red Dead 2. So not like 100%, but real close to 100%, because I'm a huge fan of Rockstar's stuff, and I loved Red Dead Redemption 1, so it's reasonable to assume that I'll really like Red Dead Redemption 2. Also, and we've talked a little bit about this, but on the subject of Wild West games, Outlaws is that old LucasArts computer game I've talked about before that is going to be replacing Uncharted unless something weird goes wrong. I haven't recorded it yet, and I'm under the assumption that everything with the recording will be fine, because it is an old computer game, and everything with the game itself will be fine. Assuming it is, it will be coming to the channel. It's 14 videos, but the way it's divided up, I actually might do it. It's like 9 missions in the campaign, and then there's like 5 other missions. So I'm thinking what'll happen is after Uncharted ends, those 9 missions will be the LP, and then when the LP ends, those extra 5 missions will come out like in addition to some other content. So it won't be on the channel for more than a month, basically. Which means that Assassin's Creed 3 will actually come out in 2017. It should be out in December. At some point, mid-December probably. The other thing we're keeping an eye on is Magic the Gathering Arena, which is the new Magic game from Wizards that's going to be replacing Magic Duels. It enters beta, I think, this month, and assuming we get a beta key and they're cool with us creating content on it, it'll probably start coming to the channel, and it would occupy the same slot that Magic Duels held, which is Friday evenings at 6 p.m. And if that happens, that would mean that for the first time in the channel's history, there is 6 p.m. content Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is just wild. And the other thing I wanted to mention here is that we've been working a lot on Stephen Plays stuff, which explains partially why you haven't been getting vlogs, but also hold on, because we are working really hard on Stephen Plays stuff so it gets far ahead so we can work on vlogs. We're trying to schedule things out as far as we reasonably can. One of the reasons is because October is just nutso. The amount of content that we're trying to plan is crazy, but we know that if we work on it early enough and quickly enough, we should be able to get it done, so we can just, schedule it out and we'll be fine. And then in the meantime, focus all of our attention over to the vlog and trying to bring that back to life. So just hold on, we're still working on that. And then finally, the big thing that people probably want to know is what's happening with Extra Life. Because last month on the Patreon video, I mentioned that it is a thing that exists and that we wanted to do it, but we weren't sure if we were going to do it. So now that a month has passed, I'm sure you want to know what's happening. And the answer is, we still don't know. And when I think about it like that, I'm like, man, a month passed really quickly. But I will tell you what we're thinking. We are thinking that it is going to happen because we do want to do it. And right now, we're actually feeling like we're going to do N64 again. There's a few different things we could do. We could bring back Super Nintendo. We could bring back N64. We could bring back Game Boy. We could do NES. We could theoretically do GameCube. We don't have GameCube finished, but we could theoretically do GameCube by downloading all the games, putting them on the Wii U. We'd have to mod the Wii U, but we could. And then running them, because they'll actually run, the GameCube ISOs will run natively on a Wii U. But I don't know, lately I'm a little leery about that, and I guess I'm just leery because of how Nintendo's acted recently about some things. And they would probably not care, especially if it's for charity, but then, I don't know, man, everything about that's just a little worrisome for me. So right now, at least how I feel about it, is I'm not going to be doing the GameCube thing. And NES is the most, I think, profitable otherwise for the charity. I think that would bring in the most money because I think the audience that we have resonates best with N64. And also we have all the carts, so it's a completely legal thing where we don't have to worry about any of the gray areas of downloading, 550 GameCube games. So right now, it is likely to happen. It is November 4th, and it will probably be N64 Round 2. And I think that it'll actually work. I think that there's still enough playable, great stuff on N64 that we would be able to reach, a big goal again. And I think did we talk that our goal was going to be 15,000? I think
so. I don't remember.
I think so. I think that's what the goal is going to be, 15,000. So we'll see if we can do that. But I think we can, and we'll certainly try. The very last thing I have is that we are actively going to try and get PAX East tickets. I don't know if we'll get them, but we're going to attempt first by, purchasing them, and then if that doesn't work, we'll also apply to get them for media badges, and we'll see what happens. So right now we're planning, at least tentatively, on going to PAX East. Oh, and we got those business cards. Mal, will you grab the business cards off the shelf? So I know that we showed the graphics off, but these are the physical cards, and I forget when they came, but shortly after, I think, last month's video. So on one side we have the Stephen Plays, Stephen Vlog stuff, and then the other side we have the Malmix stuff, and we would take some of these with us to PAX East, and we try to turn it more into a business type thing, talk to more developers and do things like that than we have in the past, because in the past it's basically been a meetup point for our friends, and this time we would focus more on the developer side and maybe doing reviews or previews or things like that for Stephen Plays, which I think would be interesting. Just very different from anything we've ever done there before. Anyway, that is it. We made it through the entire list that I had to talk about, and I don't know how you guys felt about having the camera on sticks like this, but it was kind of nice, I think. Completely hands-free. Don't have to worry about the camera moving or possibly making you motion sick. I don't know if that's a common thing. Focus is locked. Everything seems pretty good on this front. As always, talk about any of the stuff I discussed down below, and I will get back to your comments as quickly as I can. And as I say every month, thank you guys so much for the support. The issues on YouTube, I want to give you an update, actually. One last thing. The issues on YouTube, the demonetization thing, the limited ads thing, those things obviously still exist, but in the past month, YouTube is doing something. Either they're doing something and actually fixing some stuff and changing algorithms, or they are largely whitelisting my channel. I don't know. So I wanted to praise them for that, because they actually are doing a lot. Because when I brought that Patreon video to you last month, the one that was an hour, and I talked at length about the problems that were going on YouTube related to this, it was basically like every single video I uploaded. And now it's to the point where it's happening like, I don't know, one in every maybe 8 or 9 videos, which is still not great, but like that's a huge improvement. And in these cases, I'm still winning them. And in some cases, I just go to fight it and it just goes away, which is kind of weird, but that's also happened a few times. So I feel good about how it's going. So thank you guys for continuing to support us, because YouTube is always a toss-up anyway, but it does feel like they're actually kind of getting their crap together a little bit. That being said, Stephen Vlog has still never had the feature. Don't know when that's coming. I think I mentioned it last month, but I did email them about it and like, hey, when am I going to get this feature? And they're like, we're rolling it out. I'm like, okay. Well, now it's been another month. Stephen Vlog still doesn't have it, so Stephen Vlog has no way of fighting any of these things, but I'm just kind of hoping that since the algorithm is getting better, even though I can't fight them, it's happening less on the channel. So, one step forward, one step back, but I do feel like the algorithm will get better, and from what I have seen, it is. So that's something. It's not a whole lot, but it's something. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching and for your support. Leave your questions and comments down below, and I will see you next month for another Patreon video.